Pokemon is in an absolute state of disaster right now. There are millions of gamers on social media roasting Z to A. There are even journalists who are now turning against it, and it does not look like a positive outcome for fans. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, ever since Z to A released a couple of days ago, we've all been talking about how mediocre this game really is. And hey, if you are loving it and you are enjoying it, that's fantastic. I hope you get your money's worth. I hope that it is as good as you expected it to be. But there are a lot of people who are just very disappointed with the low level of quality. It seems that they didn't put a lot of effort into this title, and that is why the user scores are so bad. But now we also have the Access media turning against this. One thing that was really bizarre about this game with the scores was the fact that the critics were loving it, and while it's still sitting at generally favorable with an 80, the user scores have also gone up a tad, but it's at generally unfavorable. There are a lot of critics who are saying it's pretty good, but I don't trust the critics, and even though some of them are writing articles saying this is pretty disappointing, the user scores are really what describe this game the best. There are a lot of people giving it 10s who are trying to reverse review bomb it, saying I'm a lifelong Pokemon fan and this game doesn't deserve backlash. But then there are people on the other side of the coin saying, yeah, it's just awful. Here's a 3. I've been playing Pokemon games since Yellow in 1998. The positive reviews for this game seem to come mainly from fans who are easily satisfied with an overpriced and subpar product. I personally have been streaming this, right, because it's part of my job, and I have been so disappointed with it. I also have been playing Pokemon since I first started playing video games, and it's so sad to see the low level of quality, and I get it, right? People love Pokemon, so they line up to purchase the new game, figuring it's going to be better than the last, but the past few have been so terrible, and from what we heard, they only needed to sell about 200,000 units in order to break even, meaning they didn't have a big budget for this game, which some games with low budgets are phenomenal. Look at something like Expedition 33, look at something like Silksong, but with a title like this, it just means that they put the least amount of effort into it possible. The game looks like it's constantly going to render, and then it never does. It looks like it's got graphics from, 20 years ago on mobile. You would think that they would have really thought out the way that the combat system works, and you have this action system, but maybe the cooldowns are longer if your Pokemon speed stat is lower, and it's higher if the speed stat is higher, and it doesn't work out the way you would expect, and it just seems that a lot of these small details that could have made the game significantly better are glaringly missing. But obviously, I'm not the only person to think that this game is really bad, as millions of gamers are on social media saying it's one of the most disappointing games they've ever played. Game looks horrible. A multi-billion-dollar company being unable to make a good game is laughable. Play Digimon Time Stranger. Instead, please do not pay money for this ripoff. This game is bad, really bad. Not only the graphics, even the gameplay and the story isn't there. And with the story, the major problem I have is not even just the bare bones basic story, but the dialogue in this game and what they thought would be acceptable. Now, I think this is a result of AI. I do not think that somebody actually wrote these and put these in. It wouldn't shock me given how terrible localizers are in the industry. But here's just a few lines. Maybe have your partner Pokemon draw it away, then yeet the package inside while it's distracted. We've got, I'm sick and tired of this life. I just want to smell Pokemon. If I'm upset, giving my partner's Pokeball a little squeeze helps. If you're trying to use the argument that this is a game for children and that's why a lot of these systems are really dumbed down and bare bones, why is this dialogue acceptable for children to consume? It's not even like SpongeBob humor, where it's clearly aimed at adults and only adults would get these references. It's just really weird and creepy dialogue. But now we also have the Access Media who is changing their tune on this game. Now, again, a lot of them did give it really good scores, but I thought this was very fascinating. This is from Screen Rant saying Z to A isn't bad, but it's everything wrong with modern Pokemon. And funny enough, they actually changed this headline because originally it says that it ruined the franchise. So they're taking a step back, but they aren't changing the contents of the article itself. It says the user score sits at a 4.5 out of 10, especially considering how unimpressive each trailer made the game seem. Naturally, we always anticipated that there might have been surprises lying in wait and the Game Freak could pull it out of the bag. And yes, I'm not all that convinced that's what happened. Sure, Z to A's glowing reviews aren't lying, but I strongly believe we're overlooking major problems that threaten the overall quality of the series. It says it is average at best. It's a mediocre game that we're giving too much credit to, and I like the combat. I think that it is fun enough. I don't like the level design and the world building. I don't like the story. I don't like the characters. I really don't like a lot about this game. Also, even with the wild zones and battle zones, why is it just a ginormous red and green wall around the areas? Why is it not, oh, when you're walking through the city, maybe one of your Pokemon is sniffing around and creeping through some of these alleyways and these back ways, and then suddenly a massive area opens up and it goes ding, 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 ding at the top of your screen. It says you have discovered Wild Zone 22, and then you get to see what's in there. Like, actually add these open world elements and stop holding everyone's hands so fucking much. Give us a little bit of this open world exploration that you were boasting about. Pokemon Legends Z to A is an exceptionally average game that really, really hurts. It isn't just that its bland, uninspired visuals lack character and charm and style of older Pokemon titles, nor is it the lifeless environments that feature a smattering of motionless NPCs, shops lacking interiors, and copy and pasted buildings with JPEG windows. It isn't even the lack of new Pokemon or the game's fixation on Mega Evolutions, which aren't even a new mechanic. It's the fact that it's one of its central innovations is watered down imitation of Xenoblade Chronicles combat. It is that Pokemon Legends Z to A took no risks with its settings, offering yet another disappointing narrative packed with endless, unskippable tutorials. And yeah, this is a major problem. The first 4 hours of the game is tutorials, which really bothers me that games do. Even amazing titles like Hogwarts Legacy do that, and I hate it. I just want to be able to jump into the game. If I need a tutorial, sure, offer it to me. Otherwise, don't force it upon us. It says that Pokemon Legends Z to A has tarnished the Legends series, and that Arceus definitely suffered a lot of the same issues that plagued Z to A, but it at least took risks. Its open area setting paved the way for Scarlet and Violet while also introducing the idea of reactive Pokemon in the wild that can actively hunt down the player. Its historical setting was reminiscent of more daring Pokemon spin-off titles like Conquest, offering an entirely new perspective on the series' world and lore. And it even says that it needs to do more, which I totally and completely agree with. And clearly, thousands of gamers out there also agree with all of these absolutely terrible scores that it's getting. And just taking a look on this thread, there's a lot of people saying the game is disgustingly bad for the price tag. I think this would have been a great $20 game, a good $30 game, an okay $40 game, and anything above that, it is just too bad for the price. It says, though, mind you, the Switch 2 has the same power and abilities of a PS4. This game struggled to load in balconies on buildings. Oh yeah, also there's the pop-in. None of the NPCs move around. I mean, if I came up with a list of pros and cons, 98% of the lists would just be cons. It's so sad. If you're actually interested in why this game in particular is receiving like a mayonnaise cream puff, it's probably got something to do with every element of it coming across as an insulting monkey paw fulfillment of a desire that was expressed in the previous games that didn't fix S&V. It's going to sell about 50 million copies, and I do think that it is going to sell quite a lot of copies because there are a lot of Pokemon fans out there, a lot of people who just see Pokemon and then shut up and consume product silent, but it is always good that people are voicing their problems, because if we stay silent, that means that companies feel like they can continue to do whatever they want. And even though this game might sell, you will see, hopefully, them changing their tune in the future, because they don't want another L on their hands. They don't want more games to release with absolutely terrible reviews, millions of people laughing at them on social media, and they might actually strive to do better. So, of course, I'll be keeping my eye on Legend Z to A, but they are facing some major backlash right now, and basically everybody has turned against them. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this and found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.